Hello, and thanks for joining us today. I'm super excited you could be here because today we're talking about, well, all things taxes, but most importantly, we're talking about a lot of the changes that are happening right now with this new administration, things to keep an eye out for, and things you need to know in general about tax strategy and how to basically pay less money legally. And with us today is like the expert. I mean, the foremost expert in the field, Mark Kohler. Now, Mark is actually an attorney and a CPA for small business owners, nationally recognized tax expert. He's done a lot of cool things. I mean, he's a five-time bestseller, best known for the Tax and Legal Playbook, and co-hosts top podcast, the Main Street Business Podcast, and the Directed IRA podcast as well. He's been featured on Fox News, been featured on Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Wharton Business Radio, and has taken the global stage at the World Economic Forum in Davos as well. Named Tax Advisor of the Year, he's passionate advocate for small businesses and remains committed to helping Americans thrive through smarter tax and financial strategies. One of the things I love about Mark, he's been on the show, I think now 3 times in total. And he's literally the most knowledgeable, but also entertaining guy that I know in the field, meaning that he has a way of getting us the information that we need in a way that we can actually digest it, not unlike what we hear from so many other attorneys and CPAs. And he's also really widely known online. I mean, you can easily find his stuff. He puts out not some of, the best content I've ever seen related to tax strategy in general. So you got to look him up. We'll talk a little bit more about that during the interview. Mark, how you doing today?
Wow, and thank you. Everybody needs an intro like that every morning. Freaking A. I'm going to call you up tomorrow at about 7 a.m. after my workout. And if you can just repeat all that, I'd love it. Thanks.
I've done like nearly 1,000 episodes, and that is the first time legitimately that I've ever just not read a bio.
That's awesome. Good. Good. I love it when you're from the hip, man. You got
So, I mean, maybe the next 1,000 will be like turning over a whole new leaf here. So, I
it.
don't know.
I love it.
So,
Well, thanks for having me, Ty. Such an important topic. So many people are starving for good tax and legal education or content that makes sense and they can take action with it. So I want to make sure all of you listeners today know that Ty and I, our goal before we even started the show was let's make sure people have something they can use to change their life. And that's where it all comes down to. So,
and I should ask, because I should ask before we started. I didn't. How do I properly pronounce your last name?
Kohler,
Kohler. Okay.
like the faucets or the engine or yeah, I wish as part of the Kohler Plumbing Company in Wisconsin, I'd have a private jet, but I don't. So,
It's a very successful company. So administration changed this year, and I even mentioned that before the interview started, and you just looked like not even stressed, like, oh my gosh, like overwhelmed. I mean, a lot is happening. Like, I cannot believe that we are literally like 90 days into this and so many things are happening. But a lot of things are happening very relative to taxes, and a lot of it's hyperbole. We don't have things that are actually out there to go off of. But I'm interested, what are some of the changes that you're hearing about, seeing, and some of those implications on small businesses?
yeah, it is exciting. And what's interesting is even though we don't have the final tax legislation, we definitely know where it's headed, and we know what's going to be in it. The what some of the fine print might look like is still yet to come, but that's how it's interesting how politics work. All of you out there that get frustrated maybe with politics, it's not going to be a situation where they talk about, oh, we're going to do this, 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 and this, and they do something exactly opposite. So the nice thing is we can start to get comfortable with, and that's what the politicians want. They want to lob things out there and see what the public says. They do their surveys or they see what the response is and what resonates with people. If they throw out an idea and it doesn't land with the American public, then they're like, well, I guess they don't care about that. So we know that there's going to be some good things, and we're pretty darn confident what they're going to look like. Sorry, that got kind of a little intro to that, but I'll just throw out one to start the conversation, and that is depreciation. Depreciation is a big deal for a business owner because if you're going to even just go out and buy a new lawnmower as a landscaper, you want to write that freaking thing off. And if I'm going to buy a new truck or new manufacturing equipment, or if in real estate buying a new rental property. And so whenever I buy capital assets as a small business owner, if I can accelerate the write-off there, I'm making money because now I'm getting a better write-off for that investment into the future of my business. And I'd always rather pay less tax up front and get that write-off than write it off over time. And so that accelerated depreciation is something that Trump administration has said we want to bring back with a vengeance, get back to that 100% bonus depreciation. When it comes and what the percentage is going to be is that fine print. But I think it's exciting for business owners on that topic alone.
What kind of things are affected by depreciation? Like, are we talking about vehicles, jets? Are we talking about like, do we have any idea of the things that will be affected by this?
Oh yeah, and I love that you kind of threw out their jets and stuff. It's not for the billionaires or the big business owners. It will help them as well, but uh, depreciation for the big companies is usually a different ballgame. So this depreciation strategy is really for the Main Street American small business owner. All of you are going to enjoy it a lot. Things would be uh, from maybe a new computer, new office equipment, uh, furniture, and because when you go to write your capital investment off, you've got to choose a depreciation schedule, 5 year, 7 year, 15 year. Well, when in the first Trump administration, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, they were able to work with Congress and say, all right, let's do a bonus depreciation for 100%. And so for about 3 to 4 years, we had a 100% bonus. And then, well, then we'll trail it off to 80 and then to 60 and 70. And what that means is we want to stimulate the economy. And if you go out and buy equipment, forget that 5, 7 year, 15 year crap. You can write it off 100% right out of the gate. And whether and that could even be a truck, it could be a vehicle. And in real estate, it could be the chattels or the the cost segregation that many of you have heard about, where I can segregate the roof and the building that's going to depreciate over a long period of time to the blinds and the carpet and the lighting and the landscaping. So as a real estate investor, in summary, I can accelerate a lot of those pieces of a building that aren't going to last 30 years. And as a small business owner, I can go buy a new oven for my restaurant or again, a new camera equipment for my online influencing business, and I can write it off on day one. So that's powerful. And that, so I would tell any business owner, that's why we're already seeing some energy in the economy, is that business owners this year are like, all right, I'm ready to scale. Let's go. Game on.
What are some other changes? And I love the breakdown. And I love the breakdown of depreciation, also talking about why they're doing it, like to stimulate the economy. So that makes perfect sense. What are some of the other things that you're seeing that are changes and implications from the new administration that affect small business?
Well, and you throw that little small business part on there. Of course, we've all heard that sexy, you know, every American might benefit from no tax on Social Security, no tax on tips, no tax on um, overtime. Uh, those aren't going to typically directly impact the small business owner, maybe Social Security. And we can talk about some of the, I think there's going to be some guardrails on each one of those. They can't just, it's going to cost billions of dollars to just make that a blanket statement. But when you add that caveat for small business owners, what Donald Trump has asked Congress to do, and he's gone up to the Hill and met with the GOP leadership on, is he wants to extend everything that was in that first tax bill, which we as Americans, we got to test drive that. We saw it. It was in act. We saw it in action, and it worked out pretty well. So without boring any of you, there's this little thing called the 199A deduction or QBI deduction. And if you're an S Corp owner, and if you're a small business owner making more than 50 grand a year, I would highly recommend you consider the S as in small corporation. And that could be an LLC taxed as an S Corp. But small business owners don't need a C Corp. So if you're stuck in that little gerbil wheel, please get a second opinion. But the S corporation is super powerful for the small business owner. It's the most popular form of doing business, and it's and this QBI deduction allows you to take a percentage of your profit and write it off against your net income on your 1040. And so we want to extend that. And that if that goes away, it's going to cost business owners a lot. And so uh, Trump's asked for that. The GOP says we're going to keep that. And um, and Ty, let me just say this. Historically, some of you guys are like, probably, what the hell? What is that? Why is that such a weird write-off? When the first legislation went through, they were trying to reduce corporate taxes for big corporations and bring all of that money corporations were hiding offshore, bring it back to the US. Now Trump's trying to bring manufacturing back to the US. Let's not just bring the money back this time. Let's freaking bring the jobs back to America. And that's where you see all this tariff rhetoric in play and tariff frenzy, frankly. Um, so to make it fair for small business owners, because they're like, what the hell? Corporate taxes, that doesn't help me. I'm not hiding money offshore. What the hell do I get out of this? And so that's where this 199A deduction came about. It's called qualified business income, QBI. And if you're a small business owner, it had a huge impact. You could take 20% of your profit and write it off against your AGI. And so that had a real dollar impact. So, Ty, that's going to be a big one that you're going to love, I'm going to love, and we should see that as well. And when you put depreciation and QBI together, bam, now we got some secret sauce.
And are we still talking about because Trump the first time around cut taxes for the businesses pay pretty significantly. I mean, I have in my time of doing business in decades, I've never seen that kind of reduction, and it stayed through the next administration. So is that going to stay? And there's talk of even lowering, the taxes that businesses pay even more than they were.
Well, it's interesting you phrase it that way, Ty. Why you felt that was the two things I just talked about. Like, it wasn't that he changed rates for business owners. Your tax rate didn't change in business. There was no business tax rate for small business owners because we have this flow through strategy, right? Everybody, LLCs and S corps don't pay tax. So they gave small business owners a break on the profit they made from their small business. And that told business owners, go out and make more business, go out and hire more people. And so and everyone should know every tax legislation has an incentive behind it. It's kind of think of it as passive aggressive. Your mom or your mom or dad has a reason for why they're making you do what they do. There's some sort of subtle motivation behind that. And so when you say that, Ty, it's interesting you said it that way, is that, hey, I felt like I paid less in tax. In fact, I did. Well, how did that happen? It was this QBI, the ability to write off depreciation. The auto deduction got phenomenally better. And we had the dining write-off that got accelerated after COVID for a couple of years, which was sweet. Um, but that's how it worked. And that's what made it strong. Now, where there's going to be all these cool little things like the opportunity zone, we're going to see that extended. I think solar, oil and gas, and some other little nuances in the tax code. We're going to see those little kind of like dessert items on the table. Those are going to be fun. But I guess it's hard to make sense of it sometimes. So I hope that helps. But that's what happened. And now we're going to see tax rates for everybody stay low. That's going to be a big deal. Child tax credits, um, uh, itemized deductions. It's just that's where it kind of gets ugly. Some of you guys are like thinking you are a nerd, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of geek out on some of that smaller stuff.
So there's also this talk out there about income taxes potentially going away. So any insight on that? Like, is that even something that they're seriously thinking about? Because to me, it just seems insane. Like the fact that we literally go to work and make it a job and then pay taxes off the income we make. It seems like there's a million other things we get taxed besides the money that we make. But so I'm interested in that's a big conversation starter I see out there is that like is that even a real possibility that we could see an overall reduction in federal income tax or potentially an elimination of
Oh, bullshit. I'm sorry, I had to cough there. Did you? I'm sorry if you heard something under that cough.
no, all
No,
good.
no, it is not. uh, yeah, sorry, and let me joking around there. People, and Ty, I'm glad you brought it up because it is just a pipe dream. It is a wish, a dream, and there is no way. the tax code is going away. There's no way the IRS is going away. And let's talk about 2 points. And this is really fun. First, people, when the IRS gives you a tax break, or your state, they got to make up for it somewhere. We have incredible benefits in our country. We do have Social Security. It's not going anywhere. Trump said, I'm not trying to reduce it. Freaking A. He said, Elon, go make it better. Go get rid of all the waste and fraud in Social Security. I don't want to cut anybody's Social Security. I want everybody's checks to go up. We've got Social Security, national defense. We've got incredible federal benefits to help us build our economy and grow, and we have to pay for that. And so we can't just say there's no more taxes, people. I don't know who, someone started that rumor because it sounds fun and sexy, but that's like, Alice in Wonderland. It's not going to happen. Now, but I know some of you are like, this is the second point. Well, Trump said he wants to give a special tax rate to crypto investors, or he said, I'm not going to tax this, or I want to get rid of the IRS. Okay, people, this is the master negotiator at work. What he does is say these kind of far out things so that he gets somewhere in between and distracts you. And so with tariffs, he tells Japan, I'm going to go double down on your tariffs. Everybody freaks out. We see the market freak out for a minute. But what happens? Japan books a flight and gets over here and says, let's negotiate. It's what Trump does. It's masterful. So when he says we're not going to tax something, you have to go, all right. He's lobbing a grenade so that we can get something on the table and get something more constructive talked about. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, what's shocking to me is the other people are so shocked. Like, if you read The Art of the Deal, like he legitimately wrote a book that spells out exactly how he operates. Yeah, all these leaders of other countries and even, a lot of people in the United States, like, don't understand. It's like, how can you not understand? Like, read the book. He literally maps out his entire strategy. It tells you what he's going to do. But then when he implements a strategy, it's so shocking and overwhelming for people that they don't seem to understand what's going on, which is an interesting dynamic to me. Because it's like, this is the only guy that tells you exactly how he's going to negotiate. He wrote a book and gives it to you. And yet, like, you're either not reading it or not paying attention because this is just his strategy. It's just interesting.
Yeah. No, and let's talk about that for a minute too. One thing, everybody, I want you to understand, this is well thought out and planned. To think that Trump is shooting from the hip, people, he was strategizing this 3 years ago. When he learned so much from the first term he was in Washington, he got hometown. He didn't realize how thick the swamp was. He didn't realize when he got to Washington, D.C., his own Vice President Pence was working to undermine him. The deep state, he had no idea how that deep state was. So he goes home, licks his wounds. We have to deal with Biden for 4 years. I think it was a blessing. It was a chance for him to go, all right, if I go back, I'm going to do it different. And so this go around, think of what's happening here. If we can. Okay, he's gone to Congress and said, I want to cut taxes by 3.5 trillion. All right, to do that, everybody, if you want to cut your spending in your household, what do? You either have to make more money or you have to get rid of other stuff. It's the only way that's going to happen. So he says, I'm going to go out and I'm not going to tax the Americans. I'm going to tax other corporations. He's not taxing countries. He's taxing corporations in those countries. That's what tariffs are. He's taxing other corporations in other countries, saying, you want to sell your crap here in the US, I'm going to tax it. Especially if you're going to tax our stuff, go in your direction. So he's going to increase top line revenue by increasing taxes, not on Americans, but other corporations in other countries. Okay. Step 2 of the master plan. Let's cut waste, fraud, and abuse. Holy crap. We got money going out the door. There's one checkbook in the federal government, one checkbook, and then you can submit an invoice and they'll just pay it. I mean, it's insane. Elon Musk was like, you've got to be kidding me. So Elon puts together top business leaders who are donating their time to go cut crap and waste. Elon's goal is 1 trillion. I want to get rid of $1 trillion of waste. And Obama said the same thing when he ran. And Nancy Pelosi is all in her prior statements has been like, we have got to get tariff play fair. Anyway, it's not the message. It's just people sometimes don't like the messenger. The message
Sure.
hasn't changed. Trump's just got the cojones to go make it happen. Okay, so step one, increase taxes on other companies and other countries. Number two, cut waste. And then with that savings and that revenue, we're going to go reduce taxes on Americans so they can reinvest in their business, buy more product in the US, hire more people. It will reduce inflation, reduce interest rates, and the whole thing will come together. This is what we're hoping, right? This is the plan. And it's going to be the golden age of some wealth building in the US. But it's not going to happen overnight. And it's going to get ugly and it's going to hurt a little at first, but it could be amazing. And so when you hear, last point, when you hear the CBO, Congressional Budget Office, say, Trump's math doesn't work, it's not going to pencil out 3.5 trillion, it's not going to pencil out. That's because the CBO has already said right at the beginning, we're not going to count tariffs and we're not going to count any savings on waste and fraud. Well, where the hell is this coming from anyway? So it's just the politics get ugly, but we have to have faith, be patient, and this is going to freaking come together. I promise you.
So it's interesting because I've always said, it would be nice if a business owner ran the country, right? Because you and I mean, this is insane. Like, there's no way that any business owner could run their business like the country is run. Like, it's absurd the amount of waste, abuse, of overspending we have compared to what we bring in. What do you think? Like, what is your take so far? Because there's been a lot of stuff happening in the last 90 days. And I understand what you're saying. I understand the strategy. I get it. I read enough and study enough to understand where it's going. But what do you think? Does this make sense? Because I've never seen anybody in my lifetime attack so many things at exactly the same time. I mean, like, he's trying to fix every part, it seems like, of the problem at exactly the same time. But I'm just interested from your perspective, because you're one of the smartest guys, you are one of the smartest guy I know in the CPA space, and you're an attorney as well. So you've got a ton of experience. So what do you think? What is your feedback about what is happening and the strategy in general?
Well, it's so funny. I was watching an old movie last night with James Garner in it, and it's called. Some of you might appreciate this if you're old. It's called "Support Your Local Sheriff." And James Garner comes into this town. I can't believe I'm telling the story. I just was watching this. I was writing a blog article last night and I did just some dumb movie on that I've seen 100 times. So I put on this movie, Support Your Local Sheriff. It's James Garner, 1970, 80, whatever. And he goes into this town to clean it up. And Morgan Freeman, the general from MASH, is the town mayor. And so James Garner comes in and he's going to clean up the town. And the first person he arrests is the worst guy in the baddest criminal outlaw in town. And James Garner goes and arrests him on day one. And the mayor's like, "Oh my gosh, we're whoa," and he and we're not ready for this. And James Garner's like, "Hey, if you, I can't believe I saw this last night." And you asked this question, and he goes, "Hey, if we're gonna go tackle a problem, if we're gonna go clean up a town, you don't start by sweeping up the sidewalks on the outskirts of town. You start with the biggest mess first. You eat the frog. You got to go in there and go hard, and it's gonna feel uncomfortable, but we got to." And then I'm paraphrasing James Garner, but he gives this little lecture, and he goes, "Now, Mayor, if you don't want to do that, I'll follow your orders." And the mayor gets a little excited, like, and he goes, but that's no way to run a town, so I'll have to resign. And he's like, "Okay, no, we'll support you, sheriff. You go do it." So the whole show, Support Your Local Sheriff, as he cleans up the town, and it's a comedy actually. And so I hear so to bring in this full circle, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, all the presidents have campaigned on these same points. Clean up the waste, the fraud. Let's cut spending where it's away, and let's get smart with other countries that are taking advantage of us. But they haven't had the political capital to go hard because they want a second term. They don't have a bank account that they can rely on. They're there as career politicians. And we had the majority of the country, far majority, say, "Trump, go for it. Sometimes we don't like your style." Uh, and it's gonna be scary, but you know what? We've been doing hasn't worked. So we're just gonna give you enough rope to hang yourself, or if we can pull off the most masterful reconstruction of our economy in over 100 years. And we need it. It's not good. So the country said, Congress, we're going to give you majority control with the Republicans and Trump. You got your administration back. We gave you a dream team. Freaking A, we got the Avengers in the cabinet. And he's like, all right, let's go. And so the point being is, to answer my opinion of what I think is, if he doesn't go in hard and do it all at once, it's going to be like the same damn thing we've seen for 100 years. Politicians just trying to eat around the corners, and we never get real change. And we've got another 12 months, Ty, or it's over, because we got midterms in 18 months. Already, midterms are coming around the corner. And if Americans don't feel it in their pocketbook or start seeing inflation come down and the interest rates come down, we're going to have problems. The House and the Senate are slim majorities. And if the country doesn't, and Trump knows this, he can't take 4 years to do this. He's got to do this in 18 months, because at midterms, he gets his first report card. And so that's why his first 100 days is like a whirlwind, because he's got to get crap going, and he's got to clean up town. And you may not like the quarterback on the field, but we're all rooting for the team. We're all on the same damn team. And sometimes we don't like the quarterback, but we got to get behind the quarterback on this one and say, you got it. 2 years, 18 months. Show us what you got. Get down the field and score a freaking touchdown, or maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns, and let's see how it's working. And that's what's going on. And so we're all holding on for dear life, right?
You mentioned the IRS earlier, but there's a dramatic cuts in the IRS, like significant cuts. So if there's not really, it's just rhetoric about, removing the IRS. What's your take on so many tens of thousands of reduction of staff of the IRS? Like what does that mean for us?
Well, it it's I would say to everybody, it's not as bad as it sounds, because what happened just 2 years ago in the Build Back Better plan, President Biden gave IRS $80 billion to go hire, what was it, 70,000 agents to go audit people more. We had in 2 years ago a huge ramp up in hiring at the IRS, and they were just hiring people to hire people. Let's go. Biden gave us 80 billion. If we don't spend it, we're not going to get it. Let's go. And so the IRS, just like all these other stupid departments, are just spending money like it's water. And so when Trump is cutting jobs at the IRS and trying to cut the fat by not like in half, but like 10 or 15%, we could all be 10 or 15% more efficient, right? We all could. So, but that means that the IRS, maybe 10,000 jobs. You just freaking put them on the payroll 2 years ago. It's not like we're gutting institutional labor that's been there for 30 years. We just ramped up a bunch of jobs we shouldn't have had there in the first place. And so, and then if you put on top of it, the IRS was probably a little fat 2 years ago. Oh my gosh, it was like we were going to tip the camel over. And so just chill out, everybody. And by the way, you want more IRS agents? You have a better chance of getting audited? Who are you? You're trying to defend. It's funny. The same people we should get rid of the IRS. What the hell's Trump doing firing people at the IRS? Does that make sense? You want to get rid of the IRS, but then you're upset if he fires people at the IRS? What planet are you on? People just want to bitch. It's like, crying out loud, go make some money. Why don't you get a job? Why don't you go out and start a dream and start your card table moment and build a business? Let's focus on that. Sorry.
No, it's Mark. It's a powerful discussion. As we get ready to wrap up, anything else you think that we should know about what's taking place right now with changes this year in 2025?
Well, here's what I'm grateful you asked that. It's all fun to talk about this. It's better than a movie. I just watch the news at night. I'm like, I don't need to go watch a movie. I can freaking watch what's going on in the country. This is pretty freaking exciting. But can I control any of it? Yeah, I can't. I'm trying to make a major change in the country in tax and legal um, practices for business owners and professionals. But when it comes to all this power play maneuvering and chess moves at the international level, even just how it all plays out, um, I have no control over that. But what I can control is my own economy. I can control my own checkbook. I can control what I'm gonna focus on and what I'm not gonna focus on. And so what I would suggest to any of you that are still here listening, and thank you so much for this opportunity to spend this time with you. Why don't we implement some of the same policies in our own life? What are we doing to cut waste and fraud? I'll tell you, I've got a DoorDash problem. I need to go into recovery. I think I use DoorDash everything I buy nowadays. It's not good. It's not good. I've got a problem. So anyway, I could cut some spending in my DoorDash bill. I could cut some spending on some, no more first class tickets for you, Mark. Just fly main cabin. So anyway, we could all do a little cost cutting. We could all do a little efficiency analysis in our lives. And what do our vendor relationships look like? Are we getting ripped off in our relationships with vendors? Could we be more targeted in the goals we have to build wealth? Could we create other revenue sources? Well, if I can focus on that and do the same thing the Trump administration is trying to do, whether you love them or hate them, it doesn't matter. The concept is the same. Let's tighten our belts. And we already know we've got the House, we've got the Senate, and we got the White House bringing to bear tax legislation that's going to help you scale. Depreciation, the QBI, better write-offs, lower tax rates. This is the time in your life. If you've ever felt it, I want you to feel it now. And that is time to grow, time to build. And you can't grow and build without tightening the belt and being smart and being efficient. This is exciting. So work on your own country. It's in your four walls tonight. And what are you doing to save money, cut waste, get better deals with the people you work with, and read the art of the deal, and get out and grow your American dream. You can do it. This is the time to do it. And the whole country is behind you. It's amazing.
Mark, I appreciate you coming on today. I love to lean on you when things are changing because you're just so knowledgeable and you explain things in such a familiar way that we can relate to. Where can everybody go to learn more? Because we didn't even get in, and we've done other interviews, but where can we go to learn more about your tax strategies and about talking to you and your team more about saving us money on taxes?
Oh, thank you so much. My website is a great place to start, markjkohler.com. Mark J as in Jolly, Kohler, .com. I know it's down in the description. You can just Google it. I've got several events coming up in the next 2 or 3 months, in person and virtual. And I've got a newsletter with great tips and strategies every week, a calendar with tax tips and tax deadlines, my podcast. We've got our law firm there taking appointments every day as a boutique firm that's affordable for small business owners around the country. You can self-direct your IRA or 401k starting that, but that website will get you the starting point. And if you don't have a voice in your life for tax and legal, give me a shot. Help me be that. I mean, let me be that help to you. And we'll get you with the community, and you can find a professional that works in our community to help you succeed. And again, Ty, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And thanks for being on, Mark. Appreciate it. So listen, if you're watching this, make sure that you do a couple things. First of all, go to markkohler.com. It's Mark J, KOHLER.com. That's Mark, MARKJ, KOHLER.com. So make sure you go to markkohler.com. And while you're there, go to the bottom. At the bottom of the page, you're going to find his social media links. Just take less than a minute to just like and subscribe to those social media links, because you're going to see he has the best content I have ever seen related to any topics related to especially tax strategy and many others. So make sure you follow him there. You're also going to find the Main Street Business Podcast right down there as well. So you're going to find the Main Street Business Podcast at the bottom. You're able to actually access it there. And again, Mark already said there's a ton of resources here. I could stay here for 30 minutes to talk about the abundance of resources. I've never seen a website related to tax strategy that has as many resources as what he has there. And it's all in one place, markjkohler.com. That's Kohler. So make sure you check it out. Make sure you like and subscribe. You can also schedule time with his team right there from the website as well. So make sure you check it out right now, markjkohler.com. So thank you very much for tuning in. Take care. Have a great day.